Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with CiCi. I am your host, CiCi, a first-generation immigrant chasing the American dreams. So this will be our eighth episode. And first of all, thank you to our listeners and for your participation, subscribing, commenting, and sharing your wonderful thoughts and thumbs ups and beautiful hearts. Right? It really truly shows our guests that you are right here with us. So together we can grow faster and greater. So as you know that each episode that we dive into personal experiences, growth, challenges, and those trophy moments that make life so fascinating. So by sharing these stories, then we hope to inspire and empower each other to navigate our own journeys with more confidence and resilience, right? So today, actually, we come together to celebrate and honor your remarkable achievements that inspire, empower, and transform challenges into opportunities. So it is all about turning the impossibles to possibles, right? So we are so privileged to have an extraordinary speaker with us. And he is a visionary thinker, strategic leader, a trusted financial advisor, a dedicated mentor, and advocate for creating more abundant and meaningful futures. So by the age of 27, that he had already achieved significant milestones, which is he's selling his first financial practice and become a published writer and returning to his home state of New Jersey, not to settle, but to revolutionize the landscape of financial wellness across the nation. And as the founder of AOD Resource Group, he has brought together leading companies to the design innovative and people-centered solutions that have already and positively impacted over 10,000 families, with the goal to reach 200,000 by 2025. So his work exemplifies a commitment to transforming lives through for guidance, innovation, and unwavering dedication to human potentials. So please join me to welcome my friend Joe Wexler.
Thank you, CiCi.
So, Joe, thank you. Very welcome to joining us today on a Saturday afternoon. This is so gracious. And Joe, did you know that actually our journey began back in September 2024 during a virtual and blended conference? Did you know?
I didn't. I do remember. Yes.
Actually, let me share with you that actually, this is a one-sided story. It was just my second week, into the program, and Coach Sean, and that he was sharing his powerful law business story when there's a question pops up in the chat box, and then the question is about a congruence and arduence. And then that question was exactly the question I had on my mind at that moment. And then you stepped in and effortlessly answered it, so eloquently with such precision and an insight. So that immediately caught my attention. And then from that moment on, that you become the person that I look forward to, to check every time. And then I think I talk to myself is what is a abundance mindset, right? And then I knew that I needed to learn more from you. And so fast forward 2 months later, and then my realizer, Justin Rice that connected you and me, right? But then life happened. We didn't really dive into it. And then so a few months later, which is in this, 2025 February, like Linda Nielsen that's reconnected us again, right? So making the full like a 7 months journey to this moment. So here we are now.
Here we are.
I'm so excited and really ready to dive deeper into the ideas and the energies that you have sparked my curiosity and growth along the way. So thank you.
CiCi, that means so much, and I think that it'll be a piece of a recurring theme as we're talking into everything that you have prepared today. Is we impact one another. You impact me just as much and just as profoundly as you're speaking into me impacting you. and we don't realize how much impact we have out there, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Every day that we're showing up, whether we're in the grocery line, checking out, and there's somebody in front of us and behind us, or if we're on a podcast like this, we're always impacting people in little, very profound ways, for good or for bad. So I'm here for it. Thank you for seeing me, appreciating my voice and what I brought to the table for you, and it's an honor to be here today.
Thank you. How fabulous. And actually, Joe, that's actually I learned. I have done my homework. I learned a little bit more about you. I heard that you have been, you helped served in the NYPD for a couple of years. Is that right?
Yeah, so a little bit of background on me. I'm 5'7", German Catholic Irish, born in here, right in New Jersey. I have the heart of Frank Sinatra. I went to private Catholic school here in New Jersey, and then went to Fordham University, got educated by the Jesuits. While I was there, I was a bartender for the United Nations. I worked for the NYPD. I was a lifeguard, and I held a few other jobs during college, and then after college is when I started my financial practice. You've already mentioned that I sold my first practice, came to New Jersey, and now I mostly operate corporately, helping employers put together benefits, and more importantly, helping the employees understand those benefits so that they can move towards their best financial future. But let's get back to what caught your eye, and catches a lot of people's eye, the NYPD. I was a cadet there while I was at Fordham University.
Wow, that's amazing. So, is that the experience with NYPD? Was that a part-time or is it a voluntary experience?
Yeah, so the way the program worked was, and I believe this is still going on for any of your listeners who are going to college. If you're going to college in New York State and you're a sophomore or a junior, you could apply for this program. You get selected. So I was selected out of thousands of applications. They take 100 people into the program. And then from that 100, you actually go in and you spend 2 weeks getting trained like an NYPD officer. You actually get fast forwarded into the NYPD. So if that's something that you're already in school for, John Jay is a big college in New York where a lot of people go to become law enforcement officers after college. You actually at the time got $5,000 per semester in grant money for college. You needed to spend 2 years with the NYPD afterwards. I did not do that.
Mm,
I invested my money for that period of time, and then I returned it to them. Um, the other thing is you actually get a handsome hourly. I think that it might have been 17 or $18 per hour
okay.
at the time, and you have control over your time. So you could work part-time, you could work full-time, but you have flexibility. Um, if it's okay if I share just one other thing that I'm very proud of with this experience, I
Yeah,
actually went through the 2 week training program and then
right.
got selected out of the 100 people. Three of us got selected to work at One Police Plaza
Mm.
for Commissioner Kelly, which is the person who oversees and heads the entire NYPD. And so over the summer for 3 months, I was in One Police Plaza working alongside Commissioner Kelly's staff to make sure that things ran smoothly for the NYPD.
Wow, that's a fascinating, Joe. And so, are you referring that you see, like, for the students, college students still on the campus, and they have opportunity to apply, and then
Yes.
they, and does what's the
It's called the
qualification
cadet program, and it
for
can
that?
be explored, but it's between your sophomore year and your junior year because they
Right.
really want you to spend some time in the NYPD prior to joining.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fabulous. And then they pay you for that, right?
They pay you for it. They give you $5,000. I mean, I'm sure that maybe it's gone up since I went to college 15 years ago,
Right.
but even if it's still $5,000 per semester, that's a great amount to
Exactly.
yeah, to go to school. So
And then you have choices to do either full-time or part-time after you done the program, right?
So after the program, you go right into the NYPD. You don't have to take the test. You don't have to wait in line. When I was graduating in 2010, they actually put a pause on hiring NYPD officers. So if you wanted to go into the NYPD, this would have been like the only way to have gotten into the NYPD at that time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fabulous. I didn't realize that NYPD has such a, profound flow of selecting the candidates.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Five level dollars.
it really can supercharge your trajectory within the NYPD if that's something that you're looking for.
Exactly. Well, thank you for sharing
No
that.
problem.
Um, and then also that's, I was also intrigued by the current, the business you're running. I
Mhm.
mean, I also learned, I studied on your website, it's AOD Resource
Yeah,
Group. That would you share that or tell us a little bit
sure.
more about this?
So when I graduated from college, I came right into the financial services world. I started to build my own practice. At some point during my practice, I realized that I was serving people on Wall Street that were working for the major bank systems, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Santander. And and I really started to want to serve just regular Americans at and where best to serve them than to work at corporations. So for the last 8 years, I've really dedicated my practice to doing just that, coming into companies and educating employees on their benefits and what they should be doing for the future. As I was doing that, I realized that the issue with a lot of Americans isn't that they don't want to save, it's that either there's only two things that are happening, right? They
Right.
either are spending too much or they're not earning enough. And so I created AOD Resource Group for the business owners out there and even the people who have entrepreneurship in their heart. They might be a 9 to 5 person who's looking to leave their job and start a company. And it's not easy nowadays to start a business. So one of
Okay.
the things that drew me to being here with you, CC, is my grandfather came over here when he was 9 from Europe. He lived in Germany.
Right.
Um, he fought in World War II, so he actually went back to Germany and fought alongside the US against a lot of family members. He
Wow.
was part of the engineer corps, so he was building bridges and doing a lot of structural things, came back to the United States, and he actually started his own business. So he moved from the Bronx to New Jersey to where I grew up and where I'm raising my children now in
Right.
Bergen County. And he became a master carpenter and he started building his business. And if I imagine, and I'm getting to the AOD Resource Group piece, but if I imagine him building his business at that time,
Right.
maybe he needed to be in what was called the yellow books at that time. I don't know if
Right.
you remember the yellow books, but it was like a
Yes, I do.
really thick
A stick.
book
Yeah.
and it had every business you could imagine in your area in it, right?
Right.
So maybe he needed to be in there and maybe he needed to be just an upstanding member of his society, going to church and participating in the community and all the rest of the things, right? Uh,
Exactly.
Nowadays, right? Fast forward to today, CC, like what do you need to be an exceptional business owner if you were just starting out? Is there some things that you could think of that go beyond the yellow book and being a good member of society?
A phone and then I mean with
Yeah, like
with
let's
a
go
phone
through
here.
it. You would
Right.
need you would need 10 hands in order to cover even half of it, right? Uh,
Right.
Online marketing services, SEO, a website, um, insurances, right? Being part of a community, having coaches, being, like it just goes on and on and on. And it's even getting more complicated with AI and everything else that's out there. So AOD is a passion project of mine. It was
Right.
created out of necessity to help business owners come together to figure out what next steps they need for their business. Because I think a lot of times as human beings, we think we have to figure it out all in our own head. And the
Right.
truth is that there's another CiCi out there. There's another Joe Wexler. So why would we not be going out and finding those people and bringing them together and saying like, hey, what's the next step? Where are you trying to go? What resources do you need? And let's get those resources together so that we
Right.
can learn together through them rather than learning alone.
Right. And then, so AOD is abbreviation short
Yes,
of acre of diamond. Is that
that's
right?
right. Hmm.
And then acre of diamonds, like this word, I mean, this is so creative. How did you come up with this concept?
So it's from a book by the same name that I read years ago. And
Right,
in this book, the premise is there's a few premises. The main premise that the name came from is the idea that we're out there searching for acres of diamonds in everybody else's backyard.
right,
Meaning our first instinct as business owners is to go find business from other people, right? And to go out there into the world. Acres of Diamonds posits the fact that, hey, you might be searching in other people's backyards, but you have acres of diamonds in your own backyard. So
right,
why spend the time and energy going out? You should be inviting people in. And if you look at some of the best companies out there, they're irresistible and they're not going out into the world's coming to them, right? And you can look
right,
at Facebook or Google or Amazon. They know they have acres of diamonds with what they've built, and so they just invite people to come along with them. And so that's where it came from, and that's the main premise here is inviting people to come to our platform to build together rather than building alone.
that is a fantastic. And then on your website, right? So
Mhm.
you mentioned that navigate the path to business greatness and
Yes.
then guiding you to profitable possibilities and unlash your business brilliance, right? Maybe tell us more that what are your definitions of business greatness and business
Mm.
brilliance?
So I'm actually not even going to use my definitions. I'm going to use what I've experienced other people define as this in our group, right? In our
Right,
resource group. Um, One of them is CRM system, right? Being able to organize and categorize all the people who are coming into your life on a day-to-day basis, right? So we actually went and aligned ourselves and went into partnership with a group called Advisor Elevated, who is run by Brianna. She's an incredible individual who's been operating in the space for 8 years, and so she's brought her whole platform to us, and it's been an honor to bring that out into the world. She specifically specializes with financial advisors and has worked alongside compliance of major companies like Mass Mutual in order to help financial advisors navigate the. It's a very compliance driven environment, and she's navigated with ease how to help advisors get out there and market their practices. So it's been an honor working alongside of her and bringing the ideas that she's brought to life over the last 8 years and then start to bring them to other industries and other people. The second thing I'll say from a path and a definition standpoint is organizing your finances, right? Meaning that you should, as quickly as possible, find somebody who's an affordable bookkeeper to manage what's going out in expenses and what's coming in as far as income goes, because at the end of the day our job is to find clients and drive value and be profitable for those clients, and you need a good bookkeeper and organizational service. So we've just opened up that bookkeeping service side. We have an incredible team that's being led by a outsourced CFO, and so now we have the CRM, we have the bookkeeping services, and then we also offer a virtual event to help people empower their audiences, right? And I know we've spoken a little bit about that.
right. So that sounds like my understanding is to our business, to our startup
Mhm.
business, this is a sounded like a external CFO, external CRM,
Mm.
and also it's just like a, a function as a sounding boards. Is that right?
Yeah. So so it's like a boardroom for your business, and you could bring your soft skills. So like let's imagine somebody was like, how do I run a podcast?
Right.
Well, like I may call you up one day, CC, and go like, hey, if you have time for it and you're interested in it, would you mind getting paid to teach somebody who's brand new how to operate and run a podcast? Right. And to
Right.
that you would say, who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. But if you bring people who have done it already, you can now carve out a path for that person to be light years ahead, instead of trying to figure it out on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank you for the opportunity.
I'll let you know when it happens. So,
Thank you. Well, that's a fantastic. And then I learned that you have like ambitious goal in the next couple of years that you really wanted to, you know, enlarge the impact to about 200,000
mhm.
families, or if it's businesses,
Yeah.
right? So do you have a system? What's your vision? How can you accomplish that, that goal?
Yep. So so there's already like a path forward on that. It's really when I received coaching right from Sean Callaghy.
Right,
He's the CEO of Unblinded. He has a 7 lever path. One of the things that I'll offer to anybody who's listening to this now or any point in time in the future is I have a good relationship with them. They've given me permission to extend their virtual book that shows these 7 levers and how to grow exponentially. But one of the lessons that's taught in that book is finding the right partners. And when you're looking for a partner, there's actually 4 aspects that you want to look for, right? The first of that is their identity, who they
right,
are, and what they mean, especially to the ecosystems that they're a part of, right? The groups that they're a part of. The second is unique skills,
right.
right? So I already mentioned your unique skill is your ability to run this podcast really well, right?
Thank you.
Um, it's
I'm
been a
learning.
pleasure to
Go
be on
ahead.
so far, right?
Thank you.
So you can find people with unique skills. The third is monetary capital. So you can find people who have money that are looking to bring to an audience. And the last one is probably the most important, right? It's called human capital or relationship capital. It's the idea that um, if you meet somebody with an audience, there may be things that you can do to help actualize or move that audience forward in a different path, right? So like as an example, CC, you may be working with a lot of employees,
Right,
you don't work with the HR, you don't work with the company. This has been something that's been working for me to impact more families. Is I work alongside financial advisors who
right,
really work individually versus working with the corporations,
right,
and I create a pathway to getting introduced to the employees' HR. So
right,
now, just as a part of your overall process, you're saying, "Hey, would you mind if we reach out to your HR?" Why is that important anyway? You probably want to get your clients' benefit statements. You probably want to get their 401k. You want to understand better how they move through the company that they're already a part of. And so we can take over the reins once you get introduced to the HR to now create financial programs within the company. And now not only is CC impacting one person at that company, but we can start to create opportunities where you're doing speaking engagements to the entire company, getting introduced to the executives, and having a broader impact to the organization as a whole. Um,
right.
and so that's kind of like the pathway forward is this human capital, right? The ability to invite people to things is one piece of the definition. And the second piece of the definition is actually moving them to acting on whatever it is that you're providing as far as a service to them. Right. So if you're already providing a service to one person, why would you not be offering it to every single person that's within that company? And so that's kind
Exactly.
of like the path forward here to exponential growth from
Right. And then
AOD.
that's a fantastic. And Joe, so in that fashion, that's who can reach you that so do you have any like criteria? So
Mhm.
who's your ideal, ideal client?
Yeah, at this point, I would say that it's employees who are part of companies that are 500 to 5,000
Right,
large, or employees who are at a level where they're starting to manage a group of people. Um, because this is what I want to happen, and this is what I don't want to happen. What I do want to happen is when benefit election time comes up or somebody has a question for you, or they're thinking about opening up their own business, you don't go, um, you should talk to your family about that, or maybe
Right.
you should contact HR about that, right?
Right.
Why do I not want that to happen? I've seen it in my own family. My grandfather had tremendous success as a first generation person. Um, I'm not sure he made all the right financial moves. It's not a conversation I really like had with him. I think that he did well with his money. My parents were both school teachers and didn't have a big financial education, right? So when I was earning a lot of money through the NYPD and everything like that, maybe I was
Right.
making $12,000 or $15,000 over the summer.
Right.
If I went to my parents, thank you,
Yeah.
and asked them what to do with that, um, they took me to a bank and we opened up a CD.
Oh,
And it's not that that's more beautiful than just opening up a bank account.
exactly.
However, you and I both know with some
Right. Right.
that there's other vehicles out there, right?
Exactly.
And you definitely want to talk to a financial advisor about what those vehicles are. Um, but there's other vehicles that are out there that might have been better for me at that age
Right.
and would have just compounded my money over and over and over again. I was recently researching if I had invested $1,000, and let's up the ante. Let's say that my parents put $10,000 away when I was born
Right.
in the S&P, it would
Right.
be worth $46,000 today.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So that's just like one example of compounding growth and all of the things that we could be doing. Um, but to bring it back to your conversation here, um, this is the reason that we need additional help and support, and we shouldn't necessarily be going to our family, right? That's the family example,
Right.
and because they're well intentioned, but there might be better vehicles out there, and that's why you want to find the best professional that you can work with. And then on the other side, HR, typically my experience when talking with employees, HR will direct you to 1-800 number. That
Mhm.
1-800 number isn't licensed to give advice. So they're going
Right.
to send you a 200-page PDF that has listed out every investment, every benefit that you can access. And I love reading those, but
Right.
I'd imagine most people, their head spins when they open up that book and they see the quantity of information without actual guidance to it. So
Exactly.
so instead of all of that happening, how would I like that conversation to go? Somebody comes to CiCi and they say, "Hey, I'm opening up a business. I'm thinking about changing jobs. I'm thinking about my retirement or whatever it is."
Mm.
And the conversation instead says, "Hey, let me introduce you to AOD Resource Group because this could become the trusted place for people to find true professionals to help them move forward with their decision making."
That's a fantastic. And thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Yeah,
And so now we're just going to like shift the gear a little
yeah,
bit.
let's do it.
And we wanted to learn more about you, Joe. So tell us that what is the fun fact about you that
Hmm.
you haven't revealed on any other platform yet?
One fun fact about me, and this is top of mind because I just came back from my daughter had a birthday. It
Right.
was at a karate studio, Taekwondo, and I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo.
You do?
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
So
Wow.
that's a little fun fact.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means like I have to be nice to you.
Yeah. It's a defensive discipline, right? So yes, being kind is definitely appreciated.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Um, and then also that Joe, that I noticed that you are always like have this clear and confident,
Mm.
communications, and you're such a like a great thinker. So I'm just so curious that were you always like this, or did you just overcome a learning curve?
Um, I'll share that. when I was growing up, I was definitely very quiet.
Right.
Um, I know I have a very powerful demeanor to me. And I would say that the ability to speak into and be confident with what I'm saying has always come, that piece has always come naturally to me. The being in a crowd and all the rest of that, I think that that's something that everybody develops over time through practice, right?
Right.
If you had met me in middle school and you said, "Hey, Joe," my face would have turned red. I still have that propensity, right? I was just a very quiet person. I have my mom actually to thank for a lot of that because she pushed me into drama club
Right.
when I was in middle school, when I was in high school. I started to develop the frame of thinking that you should just be out there doing and experiencing new things all the time. And I took that into college. I was part of multiple activities, multiple sports. And in each of them, I was always recognized as a leader. So that's kind of my story, right? And I think that a lot of us, you could tell me, CC, I'd imagine that you have some leadership qualities that have transpired throughout your entire life. Is that would that be an accurate uh perception of you?
Um, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm still learning.
Yes. So you've had leadership opportunities in the past. Yes.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And so I think that what I've realized is just how often a leadership position was given to me or asked of me, and
Right.
I only half stepped into it.
Right.
Does that
Wow.
resonate with you? And hopefully that resonates with the audience members too, right? Is like we're given opportunities to be leaders, either to step into it on our own or we're asked to jump into positions. And are we actually taking it? And if we're taking it, are we actually like fully stepping into it?
Right.
Right?
That, yeah, that resonate. That's and so were you like in your past journeys? So where so which fashion is yours? Which is this like somebody asking you to step into it, or you're just serving the opportunities yourself and you stepping into it?
So both would happen,
Right.
but I wouldn't fully step in, and it wasn't until maybe a year and a half ago that I realized that, and so I would just recommend that anybody who's listening to this to understand that if you're accepting a leadership position, or if you're being asked to, or if you're putting yourself in a leadership position, really jump and dive into it because now your impact is exponential.
Right.
Right? And there's way too many leaders and too many modeled examples of leadership that they're not actually leading. And so so make sure that you're adding that ing in and don't, wait till you're in your mid 30s to decide to do that. Jump into whatever it is that you've committed yourself in to raise your ability to lead and be in front of people.
Right. Actually, that's a fascinating topic that I'm curious that Joe, that's for the another quality of leadership is which is the critical thinking, right?
Mhm.
And I always find that you have such a wonderful critical thinking skill set. I mean, and what are your like a method or how do you practice
Okay.
grow your critical thinking skill set?
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I'll give you a few. One is note taking, right?
Right. Right.
Um, I'm not sure how you take note taking or how people who are listening take notes. I take notes on top of my notes,
And
right?
tell us more.
Yeah. So imagine that I'm learning about leadership.
Right,
I actually have a file that's on leadership.
right,
And so when I go to take a note on leadership, I'm actually opening up a file about leadership. And then I'm building my thought process on leadership because I'm building off of notes that I've already had.
right,
Um, I would delusionally imagine that most people take notes like this. They write them down
right,
and then it's in a notebook that never gets opened again. And then it gets put somewhere and it gets lost. right?
Exactly.
Nowadays, I use OneNote. There's a lot
Right.
of different places you could take notes, but I find OneNote, it's very searchable, it's easy to access, it's on my phone, it's on my computer,
Mhm.
and so I just have different topics that are fundamental topics. So think about like what would be a fundamental topic for you, CC, that you're trying to learn about right now.
Uh, so psychology,
Okay.
and
So
human.
psychology would be the banner. And
Right.
then like what's one element of psychology that's like very interesting to you?
Science, psychology, in the human psychology. So and then maybe see by region, we'll say that's the source, the European psychology
Okay.
system, and then maybe Asian psychology system.
Oh, very
Um,
interesting.
yeah,
One of
it,
my professors taught about that when I was in college. He worked in Japan for Toyota
right,
Mitsubishi for a very long time, and
right,
so he did a whole lesson on the psychology of East versus Japan,
right,
and the cultural differences, and just like went line by line on that. But that's a perfect example, CC. So like you would literally have the banner would be psychology, and
right,
then you would have Japanese, American, like whatever it is, because these cultures do matter, right? Like there's differences in
exactly,
cultures.
exactly,
And so at the top of each of those pages, I would have the resources. So
right,
this would be the books, this would be the people who are influencing you in that space. And then I would start to write notes on it. And then this way, as you're out there and you read something or hear something, maybe it's from Linda Nelson, who I know is on your show,
right,
right?
right,
Like you would go in and you'd be like, wow, that's so interesting. And so you would have like either in the psychology section or maybe as a subsection in linguists, right? You would actually have notes from Linda. And
right.
this just makes it so much easier for us
Mm.
to learn and bring all of it back. It was once described to me by Amy Walker. She's a great marketing consultant in the U.S. and she described it as a tree,
Right,
and everything has to come back to the trunk of the tree. That's your core, right?
right,
So I'm a financial advisor, and so it's like, what does the financial advisor do? It helps people save. Maybe analyze cash flow would be one of the branches,
right,
right? Maybe retirement would be another branch, but it's
right,
all tied back to financial advising. And
right,
so when you're learning, psychology is the trunk of the tree, and then you want to think about like what the branches are. And too often in life we're focused on the leaves, right? Which is very
right,
specific items. So that
right,
could be like a 401k, that could be a Roth IRA, that could be a traditional IRA, that could be annuities or insurance, life insurance, disability, right? You can see how overwhelming it gets when you look at the leaves.
right.
It needs to tie back to the trunk and then tie back to the core, uh, sorry, to the branches and the core trunk of the trees.
Trunk of the tree.
And then if we wanted to go one step further, in my mind, you have the roots, which are your value system. And that's really where you want to like have you need a really good root system to support the trunk of the tree, right? I'm a financial advisor, but it's because of all my values in the roots of my tree that make me worth calling up and having a conversation with.
Beautiful. And Joe, that's and you've been in the financial services space for many years, right?
Mhm.
And I'm curious that what blocked you the most the last year, say the
Mhm.
2024, and what is still hard to break through? Sometimes you have got until life painful reminded of you.
Yeah. Um, I'm actually going to go with I'm actually going to go with duplicating yourself.
Tell us more about
Yeah.
that.
So as you're growing and expanding, um, this is what I've learned from two coaches of mine, but primarily the one that I want to mention is Allison Armstrong.
Right.
She talks about she's a relationship and communication coach and has mastered really the art of communication. Um, she has redefined so many words in my life, and one of them is partnership. So CC, if you're going to go out and you're going to expand, you're going to need partners.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of us don't really understand that partnership, the definition as she puts it, is you have to expend past your own resources and actually be doing something large enough that you need a partner. So most of us are playing small, right? We're always protecting, I've got it, I'm gonna do it, I've got this, I'll take care of it,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Um, I've tried passing I've tried passing this along, it just doesn't work. These people don't know what they're doing. They don't do it as well as I do, right? Like these are all the limitations that we place on ourselves. And
Exactly.
and the reason we do is because we all have an instinctive piece of our brain that fears that we're going to run out of resources.
Right.
And Michael Smikin talks about, again, another one of my coaches talks about this a lot. He works for Caligari Law. He's a partner over there. And he says, we're afraid if we use all our resources, we're going to die. Right. And that's
That's really
powerful. And Allison talks about
cool.
that too. So,
Mhm.
so we're actually like afraid to go and do true partnership because we're afraid that if we expend past our own resources, we're going to die. And the truth is that partnership is a beautiful thing that we should be exploring. And the first partnership we should be exploring is our partnership with ourselves, right?
So tell us a little bit more about.
Yeah. So that's like that's, comes into this all comes back to this question that you just asked me, right?
Right.
About like what have I realized over the last year? It's that like I need partners in my life. And I also need to be a great partner for myself. So I'm still exploring what that means, but I know that it means accountability,
Right.
right? Showing up, doing the right things,
Right.
protecting my money, my energy, and my time, right? Getting things out of my head and on paper, right? And this is
Right.
I'm just going to keep naming different people out there that you definitely can look up and should look up. This is a great financial services coach. She's actually up in your neck of the woods, CC, in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Her name's Amy Jamrog, and she talks about getting things out of your head and just getting them on paper, and then getting them on paper into your calendar, right?
Right.
So like that's
Right.
good, great partnership for yourself. Getting things out of your head, getting them on paper, getting them written down. Um, and then partnership with other people is going to be the same, right? Like communication, clarity, confidence, to make sure that you're doing the right things, and also restoration because we need to like reacquire relationships with people. Allison Armstrong talks about how relationships aren't real; they're not like a physical thing, like the chair that I'm sitting on.
Right.
It's actually how we relate to people. And
The
how we
connections.
relate to people
Right.
is every time I'm communicating with you, CC, I'm either relating better with you or I'm
Right.
relating worse with you. And same with
Right.
the way we relate with ourselves. We're
Right.
either breaking promises to ourselves,
Right.
breaking promises right down the ladder, or we're honoring promises to ourselves and we're moving up the ladder. And the
So
more we're moving up the ladder, the better we feel about ourselves, the better we feel about other people, and the quicker we can move into partnership.
so how can we keep on honoring our own thoughts and keep this inner alignment?
Hmm. Um, Honesty is the
Honesty.
first step,
Right.
right? And
Right.
communicating what you're thinking and feeling in the moment that you're thinking and feeling it. How often are you thinking or feeling something, but you're not actually saying it, right?
Right.
And there's different ways to say things, but the worst thing you could do, I learned this maybe 3 years ago, is not change, right? So learning involves change. You're either
Right.
changing in every situation, you can either do 2 things. You can either change your environment for better outcomes, or you could change the way that you behave in that environment, right? So
Right.
even if we were to rewind the clock 10 minutes ago, we can change the way that we're behaving in this moment, or we can change the environment. A little bit harder to change the environment, but coming back into this moment, we could change the environment if we wanted to change the environment.
right.
Does that
And
land with you?
that's so profound, 100%. And then, so this actually uh, reminded me another topic is like, which is the conscious and subconscious, right?
Yes.
What's the correlations? I mean, just from your
Mhm.
perspectives, what's the correlations between consciousness and subconsciousness? Um, you know, for the purpose of achieving your
Yeah.
goals.
I actually mastered this a year and 4 months ago. I
You mastered
I'll
it.
tell a funny story to lead
Right,
into it.
right,
But during COVID, I had gained some weight and
right.
about 2 inches on my waist, and I was mowing my lawn over the summer, and the
Right.
button I was wearing shorts with a button on it, and the button of my shorts popped off, and in like slow motion was just like
Right.
in the air, right?
I
So
hope I hope your neighbors is not around.
I think I
Right.
was the only one to witness this,
Okay,
but
COVID.
witnessing a button
Right,
fly off of your shorts
right.
in the middle of COVID got me to thinking, oh, I probably should start to take care of my physical body. Uh,
Physical body. Right.
I had just become a new dad,
Yeah.
and it took a little while. It took another maybe, um, I don't know, 4 or 5 years before I actually took this ownership on and committed to it. But I did 75 hard. Have you heard of 75 hard?
Tell me a
Yeah,
little bit
sure.
more. Yeah.
So 75 hard is 75 consecutive days
Right.
of working out twice a day, one
Right.
indoor workout for 45 minutes, and one outdoor workout for 45 minutes. You have to
Right.
drink a gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. You need
Right.
to take a progress picture of yourself every day for 75 days,
Right.
and, you have to be on a diet. So I was on a high protein diet.
Right.
Um, I was doing all the rest of those things, and I actually did that, for 75 days straight.
Wow.
Thank you.
And then where did you store your pictures? I'm
I
curious.
store them on my phone.
Right.
Yeah,
Just for your own eye, but not just sharing with anybody else. Nobody else is monitoring.
that's right. So
Right.
what's beautiful about this system, Andy, Priscilla is the developer of this, and it's so worthwhile to look up because I
Right.
think a lot of I think now after completing it that your money, your mind, and your movement are so critical to progress.
Right.
The way that you think, the way that you move, and the way that you handle your money is so critical to your future success, right?
Right.
And we can't ignore any of those elements, otherwise, we're really not showing up as like the best CC and the best Joe Wexler that we can be.
I see.
To go back to the subconscious and conscious, I would have identified prior to 75 hard as somebody if you gave me a bag of pretzels, especially those thin, the thin crisp pretzels, I would
Right.
eat the entire bag.
You
I
will.
love pretzels,
Right.
right?
Yes.
But
Delicious.
I couldn't eat them during 75 hard,
Right.
right? In my office, I loved grabbing the candy in the candy jar of my reception, right? Like there's bubble gum, that like double bubble gum. I would
Right.
grab one of those 3 out of 5 times a week, prior to 75 hard. I couldn't do that, right?
Right.
So one of the hardest things wasn't giving up alcohol or like eating well. It was walking past the chips. It was walking past the candy and not being able to have it. At the end of 75
Mm.
hard, my son came up to me with one of those thin crisp chips that I would have like eaten a whole bag of. I took
Right.
a tiny bite and
What?
my subconscious told me you don't need any more.
Wow. This is after 75.
75 consecutive days.
So 75, that's 2.5 months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So you mean like are you referring that's consciously is like this, and after 2.5 months, subconsciously you reborn, you build up a new Joe Wexler. Is
Yeah.
that right?
But my conscious still identified as a entire chip eating bag, right? Like my
Right.
conscious still identified. That's an identity of mine. I still
Right.
hold that identity. I haven't eaten a bag of pretzels since 75 hard, but and this is a year and 4 months later. But I still identify as that, but my
Right.
subconscious doesn't. So
Oh,
that's what I want to like posit to
right.
you and to the audience is that like if we're I think training is the biggest piece. If we're training our minds to do the things that we don't want to do every day but we know is serving and good for us,
Right.
our subconscious will adopt that identity even if we don't identify as that.
Right.
So let's say that like you didn't like public speaking.
Right.
I guarantee if you went out there for 75 days and spoke publicly, you might still not like or identify as a public speaker, but your subconscious is going to get very, very used to um, speaking in public,
Right.
right?
Oh, right.
Is
That's
that helpful in understanding subconscious and conscious from like it's such a real example and it's something that I've always like heard. Right? Is just do the things and then your identity changes. And it really does. I think gamifying things can be extremely helpful. That's the reason why I completed 75 hard, right? Because I
right.
finished the first day and
Right.
I finished the second day and I finished the third day. Well, do you want to go back to day one after you've completed 3 days? How about after you've completed 30 days? Do you want to go back to day one and start all over?
No.
So you're more likely to just keep doing the things.
Oh, I like your thinking.
Yeah.
I like your thinking. But here's a question, Joe, that you have this is such amazing self-awakening moment
Hmm.
from the scenery you described,
Yep.
the it's pops in the that's such a like a self-awakening a moment, right? And from that moment until that's the moment you decided to do this 75, how long does it take?
How long did it take for me to decide to do 75 hard?
Exactly.
I found out about the program just off topic about 5 months prior.
Right.
And then 3 months prior was when I was like, I heard it again
Right.
from someone else. And I was like, maybe I could do this. And what I would say, CC, because it's a great question, then I like really started to map out maybe 2 months prior. And this is
Mm.
even with business plans, resolutions, like anything that we're going to be doing that's going to be really important to us. We need to adopt for time to like figure it out, right?
Right.
The
Right.
plan for it.
Right.
And one of the things that I was thinking about was like, how am I going to fit this into my day? And I just happened to be there's a few things that happened during that time. I'll go through at speed with each of them. I ran into a former coworker
Right.
who was an IT guy that was working here at my company, and he was just like a like softer looking guy.
Right.
He started doing jujitsu, and when I spoke to him, like I don't know, 3 months after he had left our company, just
Right.
like chiseled, different looking human being. You could tell his confidence.
Right.
And I was just sitting back and I was like, wow, like this. So we have a lot of impact with what we do from a movement and health perspective. We have a big impact on the people that are around us.
Right.
Right. That's what I realized in that moment. Second thing I realized, I was on a phone call with a new prospect and he said, hey, uh, not to be rude, but I just want to let you know when you call me, I might be out for a run.
Right.
And I go, "Oh, I hope you are out for a run," because one of the things I was thinking about for 75 hard is think about all the phone calls you're on, all the things that you're on, where you're actually more passively listening to it than you
Right.
are actively participating in it. So I was thinking to myself, "Oh, those would be good opportunities for me to get outside specifically and go for a run and get the exercise right? So I ended up speaking to him while he was on his run, and he sounded like he was behind a desk, like he was, like it was just a normal conversation, right?
Right.
Um, so that helped me out a lot. because it created the room that I needed in order to experiment with 75 hard, and that's what that's what I did. I found pockets and opportunities like we all do have every day, where you're really just more passively listening into a training, a call, or anything like that. And I don't feel like I retained much less. I was just out walking, running, doing the exercises that I needed to do. So
It's a fascinating, and Joe, that's so since that, I mean, you shared this story, right?
Mhm.
I just wanted to um you know talk a little bit more, because it's I find it's so challenging for people that who doesn't have the stage of mind that you have, because see that there is, it seems like there is no external voices. Everything is just your self-talk and
Mhm.
self-observation, self-love, self-determination. So this is all about your self-love, self-respect, self-decisions, right? Then so how about for those like experiencing where have the challenges, you know, to to be what you where you are.
Yeah. If I'm hearing you correctly, uh, you're talking about like having the self discipline to do all this stuff, but like there's other people that might be around you that are making it like a little bit tougher to make the important decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or for some people that, they're just not strong enough, that they haven't built up the self-discipline muscle yet. And
Yeah.
how can they be there?
So this is what I want to share is like 5 years prior, when that button flew off of my shorts in my backyard,
Right,
um, I was not putting myself first, right? That's the reason that had occurred, right? I had just had a kid and really was pouring all my money, energy, and time, especially during COVID, because our lives became very insulated and very family oriented, right?
right.
Um, a lot of my life became other focused, right?
Exactly.
As a
Exactly.
dad, as a husband,
Right,
as a son-in-law, as a son to my mom, right? Like a lot of it became others focused, and so I don't want to like skip over that part of the story. Like it took me 5 years to
right,
realize that like you do need to honor yourself first if you want to like honor others. Because if my goal is to provide for all of those people that I just mentioned,
right,
my kids, my wife, my in-laws, my mom, the goal really is to live as long as possible, right?
right,
And in order for me to do that, I need to take care of myself first and foremost. So for anybody that's listening that's doing what I was doing for 5 years, which is like not showing up as my best self, not putting myself first forward, the question then becomes, well, what are you going to do about it? And I had tried a lot of other things, joining a gym, going to
right,
the gym twice a week or 3 times a week. Um, the truth is that sometimes we're not doing enough.
right,
And so if we're really committed to something, it's better for us to play all out,
right.
which is what I chose and committed to doing. Because you think about exercising for 45 minutes twice a day, that's 90 minutes of exercise,
Exactly.
right? If I
Right,
was going, this is kind of like what I thought I could go. Option one, I could join a gym again.
right,
I could go 2 to 3 times a week, but I know that there's going to be days that I don't go because I want to be home with my family, spend time with them. I
right,
want to do all these things. I need to work. I'm going to make excuses not to do it, right?
right,
So maybe I go to the gym twice a week. Twice a week times 52, that's like 104 times that I go to the gym.
right,
Or 75 times in the course of close to 3 months, right?
right,
75 hard times 2, right? So
right,
that's 160 times that I went to the gym.
right.
That's the equivalent of close to 2 years of working out in 3 months.
That's a
And so like imagine you're
right,
baking a cake,
right,
right? And the cake is you and your best physical health, mental health,
right,
spiritual health. right? Um, these are the ingredients if you wanted to have the best cake, right? Drinking the water, doing the exercise twice a day,
Right,
reading books,
right,
right?
right,
Staying away from sugar and alcohol and all the rest of this stuff. So, like, why not just hit the reset button on your life for 3 months rather than just doing an okay job for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? So that's like what I would posit is like we choose, but why not choose to jump all in versus doing things that haven't are they actually getting you to your ideal life?
right,
And if they're not, why not shortcut it and then get the this is Alex Hormozy. He's a great business coach that's worthwhile listening to. But he talks about objections. So the first objection that your listeners or you might be thinking is I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, the time, the energy.
right,
We do the same thing for finance. You could put in any kind of big decision. First thing you're going to do is I say I don't have the resources. Well, it's not that you don't have the resources. It's that you need to be resourceful with what you have because there's another CC out there who's doing more with less than what you currently have. Take everything you have, subtract and make
yeah,
less of that, and there's somebody who's doing more with less resources than you. Can you
right.
imagine that?
I can imagine that.
Awesome. The second piece is then you go, well, I still can't do it because I need permission from my spouse, my accountant, my financial advisor, from my health coach, from my doctor, from this
Right,
person, that person, right? All of these are, we're trying to push power outwards rather
right,
than taking ownership inwards. So the second one, you need to understand you're not asking for permission. What
right.
you're asking for is support because
Support.
you're in pain. There's some sort of pain that's there, and you're not achieving the outcomes you want. So yeah, you're asking for support from these people. You're not
Right.
asking for permission from them.
Exactly, exactly.
And
That's
then
beautiful.
Cece, the last piece is, oh well, I've been thinking about it. I just have never gone into it. You finally
Right,
admit that it's your fault, right? Like it's my
right,
fault. I've been thinking about this financial planning, fitness, whatever it is. I've just never gotten around to it. And so then
right,
the answer from Alex Ramosi is, hey, Cece, it's not like you're going to go home onto like imagine this, you go home, this is what he thinks about when he thinks about thinking. Light up a pipe and have
right,
a rocking chair and just sit there and scratch your chin and
right,
think about like what you're going to do. So
right,
you don't actually need more time to think. What you need is more information and more proof that you can learn it and you can do it and that other people have done it and learned it and had major success from that. And so, so that's what I would recommend in the area of health and money, and with your own mind is go out there and find a model for you. Again, Acres of Diamonds. The email is right here, AOD Resource Group at gmail.com. Fantastic place to just reach out. I'm an open book. I have plenty of resources. You're one of my resources now, and we could just get you connected to somebody who knows and has done it and can hold your hand and say like it's okay. You have the resources now. You have the support now, right? And you don't have to think about it. We could get you the information to take action. Is that helpful in kind of like rounding out all of this and like how we make decisions, our subconscious, our conscious, how we get to our results a little bit faster, all of the things?
100% resonated.
Yeah.
And it's like a refreshing. And then so actually I do I look at the time. I mean, how is your time look like? I do have a couple more topics to learn from you.
Cece, with your permission, I would love to come back seasonally and continue to like operate on some of these. But what are some of the some of the other topics that we have here? And maybe I could pick one of my favorites
Right, one of your favorite. Okay. So then
and give the viewers and listeners ideas on what they could be asking to me the next time around, or what resources they're looking for, so that we can pick a topic that's top of mind for them as well.
Exactly. Well, so I do have a question from the, listeners that, questions about
Mhm.
desire and then also about your perspectives of like the American dreams and
Mm,
then also that's the energies, and then also that's, what is it, mind made compared to heart made,
yes.
what the difference is, how do you best leverage?
Mm,
So those are the topics that right here we have.
awesome.
What do you think?
So let's hit that last one because I
Right,
think that it ties really well into everything that we just spoke about, right?
right,
We can we can listen to everything that we just spoke about,
right,
right? Um, it can make sense logically, right?
right,
Everything Joe's saying makes sense. We can get through all the objections that we just covered in our minds, right? Like, oh yeah, like I do have the resources. I do have the support or I can ask for it and I can tell them what it's going to provide to me. That's an Allison Armstrong thing. You could say, "Hey, this is why I need your support because it's going to provide I'm going to show up as a better husband if I'm in better health. I'm going to have more energy to take out the garbage and do all the chores, right?
right,
Um like this is what it's going to provide to me and this is what I need support from with you, right? Then finally taking ownership, and these are all the head, right? We're moving through the head, and then we're
right,
moving to the heart because at the end of the day, it's what your heart wants, right? That's
right,
where the will comes from. It doesn't really come from your head, right? Commitment kind of comes from your head, but it transfers quickly to your heart. Is
right,
your heart in it? Is your heart not in it? And we know that. Oh man, I'm there I heard this, I don't can't remember who it was from, but the energetic transfer of your heart is about 1,000 times what it is from your mind. So if I speak from my head,
right,
there's like, I don't know, 10 times, right? 1,000 times from my heart if I speak from my heart. Um, and so that's like the difference, right? Is logically great, but
right,
in decisions have to come from here,
right,
right?
right.
And if we're speaking to other people, it also has to come from here.
Mhm.
And again, this is a Sean Calgi on Blinded piece, but it's called energetic transfer. And what we need to do is understand what other people want, right?
Right,
What does CC's heart want?
right,
What does CC's mind want?
right,
And then connect it to my heart and my mind. And that's what happens even through uh, you reading a message that I sent.
right.
You literally said at the top of this call, it was what I was thinking.
That's fascinating. That means I did a great job.
Sorry about that. All that talk about
Welcome back.
all that talk about energy sapped the energy out of my computer. So
I see. Okay, welcome
um
back. Um,
but I was just saying, Cece, at the top of this call, like what you said to me was I read something you wrote and it was what I was thinking. And you didn't say, I don't think you said this, but it seemed like it was what you were feeling too, right? So there was energetic transference, and it's a lot easier when you're speaking and you're in front of somebody visually. But it can happen at so many different places. And so that's the head and the heart. And what I want to like wrap up with is whether someone's listening to this the day after it gets put out there, or if it's a month later or 10 years from now, um, just know that if something that I'm saying is resonating, reach out, right? Like, because it's taking that action step. Do you know what the biggest cost in life is, CC? And this is like our job on a day-to-day basis. We're on the front lines of conquering it.
actions.
Actions. It's actually so it's I like to frame it as like doing nothing is the biggest cost out there. It's when we do nothing that there's the biggest cost.
Right,
Doing something is always going to have less of a cost than doing nothing,
right,
right?
That's so brilliant. That's so
Yeah,
brilliant. And then um I do have two more questions and then we can
please.
wrap it up. Is that okay?
I'm going to give you permission to ask the questions. I'll tell you whether we're going to answer them today or whether the listeners and you are going to have to wait till next season over the summer when I'm on.
Okay, perfect. We follow your rule. So when it's like we're fascinated about, what inspires you to keep pushing forward and even when things is getting tough.
Great. Was there a second question?
The second question is from your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
since you was born and raised in New Jersey, New York area, right? And then so what's your the perspective about American dreams?
Mm. Um, I'm going to wait to answer the first one because I do think that it's going to take a little reflection on me.
Right.
Anytime I hear a really powerful question, what often happens is it sits in my brain and overnight it goes from like a seed. I'm a big gardener. It's like planting a seed and then the next day there's a forest of ideas. So I'm gonna hold on to that first one for you.
Beautiful.
The second one, the American dream, is deeply instilled in my heart because of my grandfather. He passed along a lot of magic, a lot of opportunities. He had 5 girls and he sent them all to college at a time where women in America didn't really need college education, right? It wasn't something that most women were pursuing. There actually was, I'd say, more colleges that were just men only colleges at that time than women colleges. He also gave the opportunity for me and 17 of my cousins to choose the college of our choice.
Right.
Um, and he traveled to over 100 countries during his lifetime.
Wow.
Um, so he lived, I got to see through him, he lived the American dream. And he didn't live an easy life,
Right.
right?
Right.
Just because you're living the American dream doesn't mean that it's easy.
Right.
It means that it's fulfilling. And
Right.
it's especially fulfilling to other people who see you doing it. So whether you're doing 75 hard, whether you're showing up at a 9 to 5 job and you're providing for your family, both of my parents who were teachers were living their American dream, right? They wanted to be educators. Um, and and so whatever you're doing, show up with your biggest heart and your biggest head because you're having an impact on the next generation and their dreams, right? And
Right.
helping them understand that they don't need the resources, they need to be resourceful, that they don't need other people's permission, they need other people's support, right? Like
Exactly.
that's what I'm teaching my children. Like they need my support and they will always have it. Safety is something, CiCi, that we'll talk about again like on another piece,
Another.
but we need
Yes.
we need to create safety for people and space for people to show up as their best selves and to
Right.
perform their best work, right?
Exactly.
And then lastly, like we need to help people understand they need to take action because the
Right.
biggest cost is not taking action. So again, if you're listening to this, if it's resonating with you, send me a message to AOD Acres of Diamonds, right? AOD Resource Group at gmail.com. And one thing I've been blessed to do, CiCi, is
Right.
to make this podcast a podcast like no other, which I mentioned to you, where you can actually interact with me. I will always invite CiCi for anybody who's reaching out to me to be on this experience, but it's 5 to 7 people of influence connecting for mutual benefit to help support each other with their ultimate mission, vision, and purpose. And so at any point in time, evergreen offer till the day that I'm not on this blue planet, but maybe somebody else will take over AOD and we'll still be answering emails. If you send me a message and say, hey, my name is Joseph. I want to pursue a dream of opening up a hair salon and I don't know the steps to take. I would love to be on one of these virtual events to talk to other people of high caliber about what that looks like. We will find a group of 5 to 7 people, and I can almost guarantee, and I can definitely guarantee if you're listening to this a year from now, that we have the people in place to help you accomplish those dreams quicker, faster, without as many mistakes as you would otherwise make with your money, your energy, and your time. That'll be my commitment every time on this show, is to make it a safe space for anybody who's listening out there in the ether to reach out to me and my team to cause you to take action more quickly towards your goals, because I definitely have learned those, CiCi, and I definitely want to share those to cause that in other people's lives.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yes.
So on top of this message, Joe, if I may ask, what is the final thought on your mind or heart?
Mm. Um, I need unicorns out there, the people who are like you, CiCi, that are putting themselves out there, that are talking and engaging with audiences and don't know how or who else to provide to those audiences. And so if you're one of those people that's listening to this and is blessed to have an audience that I can interact with and help cause things with beyond whatever your specialties and skills are. And what's beautiful about us, CiCi, is we're very congruent with the services that we offer, right? So imagine if we weren't, how much more we could accomplish and do together. So that's my final thought here, is if you have a stage or you have somewhere you'd like me to speak on my experiences, let's get that conversation started, because I would love to bring you and Lee and Linda and everybody else that you're going to have on your podcast this year along with me for massive success.
Thank you very much. So, and with that said, that brings our conversation to a close. And remember that growth begins with awareness, right?
Mm.
But it's powered by actions. So, what's your next bold move? And don't you forget that if you failed, no problems. Give yourself grace. Go try again. And if you succeed, then celebrate. Then if you failed again, then no problem. Start again next day and just keep on going. Is that right?
Yes.
And so with that said, thank you so much for being here. And I hope that for to my to my beautiful listeners, that if you get some values from this episode as much as I did, if you did it right, so do me a favor, just click the like button right now.
Mm.
And if you like it, it's going to help us to share out to the YouTube world, and even more for us. And so please click on the like button and leave a comment below on your biggest takeaway, or if you have any questions that you want me to follow up with. And then also subscribe to our channel. And because when you do that, you are helping us to book even more bigger guest, right? So, and then I want you to have the best information in the world, because this is all about American dreams, right? So stay tuned for more episodes, and where that we continue to explore this personal growth and the personal development. And Joe, again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CiCi. Have a great day, and I'll see you next season, maybe. Take care.
Exactly. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.